702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
It's 7 minutes past 9. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Good morning to you. My name is Tshidi Madia, in for Clement this week. Happy Wednesday. A shout out to all of you. I hope it's been a wonderful start to the day. If you're listening to us from out of the country, a special hello to you. We made a great bunch of South Africans in Washington when I was there who tune into the shows, who follow our conversations and developments here at home. So a happy day and a wonderful day to you and yours. Yes, guys, I am thinking about Floyd. It's not funny. I am thinking about Floyd a heck of a lot. Like, what does his redeployment mean? I'll tell you all of that in a bit. I do want to know what you make of the news coming out of the Umkhonto weSizwe party. What's your latest take on that decision to move Floyd Shivambu from Secretary General, the COO of the MKP, to being in Parliament, not the leader in Parliament, not the chief whip, but a backbencher? Eh? Aye, guys. 011-833-072-072-7021-702 if you want to share your thoughts on this or any other issue. We start the show, of course, with the open line. That's between 9 and 10 at 10.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So news coming out of the MKP yesterday, the party announcing that its Secretary General, Floyd Shivambu, will be redeployed to Parliament. This largely, only really, blamed on that trip he made, that Easter trip to Malawi, where he visited fugitive Shepherd Bushiri. A trip, mind you, if you listen to a lot of the engagements he had leading up to this period, he's consistently defended. I think at some point you were speaking to Ziyanda Ngcobo newsroom and he said that this is a trip that was on the program of the MKP, suggesting that it was sanctioned. So yesterday, we then hear that he violated the rules of the MKP's constitution, a constitution that he put together. I've had the song, guys, I'm going to play you guys a song for like 2 seconds, that kept playing in my head over and over again when I watched what happened, when I kept thinking about Floyd. This is the only thing that came to mind for me. Take a listen. Yes, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Do you think that's what Floyd has been going through? Do you think he sat there and he said, yo, I made a blunder in August, that I shouldn't have left the Red Berets? That's one of the things that I thought about. But I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that is where he is. But it is a thought, like you were a deputy president of an organization, you go become a secretary general, and months down the line, you are removed. Some are saying that this should be a course, a political course in class of miscalculation. Do you agree? Should a course about how you must strategically think of what you're doing be born out of the saga? So here are a few things that came to mind, really, if I'm being honest. One, we did know it was coming. I don't think many people who follow the MKP or Floyd Shivambu's career since moving to the MKP are surprised at all. The warning signs were there. The clip of Gwede Mantashe asking EFF members in Parliament, like, Abalandu Floyd yini? Eh? So those things, the suggestions, the murmurs were always there. I actually spoke to Advocate Dalimpofu last week on the 29th of May for Politricking, the episode of Politricking, which airs today, ironically. And I said to him, Floyd's removal is a thing that's in the air. I asked him what would be his reaction if Floyd was to be removed. Of course, this was also on the back of Mzwanele Manyi's removal. Take a quick listen to what Dalimpofu had to say.
Look, I think I give you the same answer as I gave around the Mzwanele Manya issue. None of us own these positions because of what I've just explained now. So there is an understanding, as it were, that, I always say, look, when you get appointed to this, you don't ask questions why. So when you get shifted, you suddenly ask 100 questions, yeah. But on a more serious note, as I said, it's the instability in a way doesn't faze me, in particular, personally, because because of maybe where we've been with the EFF. So I think people who haven't had what one might call the EFF experience, get all hyped up about these things. But for me, I had to, you might not remember this now anymore, but you were there. I had to chair a disciplinary committee and literally expel the number 2, probably the number 3, number 4, whatever, of the EFF in the first year of its existence.
Yep. So that was Dalimpofu speaking a little bit about the expectations. This was before yesterday, that conversation that we had. It was in the lead up to this decision, and he said that, they wouldn't be surprised that no one owns those positions in the MKP. He's not surprised. I also think, here's another point, the party is not being honest around the reasons why Shivambu is being removed. And I go back to that media tour where he told people that it was a trip that was on the program. It was sanctioned. This is where I almost wish the journalists yesterday would have actually put that to the party. There was a great opportunity to ask, what did the party agree to, and and this is in line with the rules that were transgressed by Floyd Shivambu, allegedly. Another point to make, it is important to recognize that there's been very clear battle lines between Floyd Shivambu and Duduzile Zuma all along. Remember that outburst she had on social media that she's meant to be going to a disciplinary hearing for, that there's still no outcome. The MKP is actually quite swift when it comes to DCs, but this matter has just been hanging in the air. Some yesterday saying, well, clearly it's a clean sweep. Clearly Duduzile Zuma has won. But Floyd Shivambu also gets accused of being a non-performer, that the strategy to bring him in from the EFF also meant that he'd come in with people from the EFF, and that when it comes down to it, they don't have large numbers of people who've left the EFF. So that strategy failed. But there's also been this theory around a coup, an attempted coup, that Floyd Shivambu and those he brought into the party with him were looking to take over the MKP. If you listen to my podcast, at the end I asked Dalimpofu what happens next. And I asked him, do you go to court, the constitutional court? Will you be a judge? Or will you be the deputy president of the MKP? And he laughed, because in that moment he recognized that I know something that I shouldn't maybe know. Like, what somebody knows based on the questions they ask you. So the idea that they had seen positions for themselves to rise and take over the party is one that people in the MKP believed. So that paranoia existed. The question again is, what is Floyd going to do in Parliament? It's going to be a backbencher. You've got John Hlophe there, who I think has gotten very close to former President Jacob Zuma. He's the leader. You've got Colleen Makubele, from my understanding, who's very close to Hlophe. So that's a Zuma core at the moment. I don't see it being shaken for Floyd Shivambu. Can you imagine how the EFF behaves and how he has to now contend with the EFF in Parliament? So I don't know how long he'll last, but that's what I see. He's going to be a backbencher. And I think, again, the Reds are salivating in this moment. So there's many, many aspects of this. I think in terms of whether or not he regrets the decision to leave the EFF, I'm divided on that. And I'm divided purely because I think he left because of how he was treated. And I don't think even this, the way he's been treated in the MKP, changes that in any way, if that makes sense. Kenny Kunene, who was once close to Shivambu, also said last week that there was an issue of how Floyd was treated in the EFF. So I question that regret. I did say I find it surprising that it is NC members, Andile Lungisa, Zamani Saul, who've expressed the most sympathy, who've been magnanimous in looking at what's happening and what Floyd needs to do. So that's all of that. I'll also speak about Patrick Sendani, who left the EFF to follow Floyd Shivambu to the MKP, who yesterday quit the MKP. But I don't want to take over all of this. I want to hear your thoughts about what the moment means. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. That's for WhatsApps and voice notes. Tulani in Centurion, hi. Good morning, Tulani.
Good morning. I was going to say, I think what Floyd is going to do is all going to be dependent on whether or not when he went to the MKP, he was promised a position. And I firmly believe that he was promised a position. I don't think you would leave a party where you are a deputy president and go to another party to be just a general member. So I do think that when he went there in the first place, he was promised a position. And he was given a position.
He was given.
Yes, he was first given, I think, being a national organizer or something around those lines.
Yes, it was.
And yes, secondly, he then was promoted to the Secretary General. Now, he has been demoted. And I think the worst part of the whole incident yesterday that really left a bitter taste in my mouth is you get demoted and then you are called onto the stage to come and address the very people, your fellow members, and tell them how you feel about this thing. It's like being employed as a COO or whatever, and you get demoted to the whatever position that is lower, and you're asked, come address the members and tell them how you feel.
That's it, actually, Thulani. It really is.
It honestly was embarrassing.
It's demeaning,
now, I think for me, the most likely move for Floyd is he probably will stay for a couple of weeks, months, maybe even, but I do think he's going to leave. And I think the best move for him would probably be to open his own political party. No. And I was saying to somebody yesterday, if Floyd was to team up with Ndlozi and open a political party, I promise you now, MKP and EFF are going to suffer.
I don't think so, Thulani. I can't, hold on, Thulani. Before I let you go, I cannot see how Floyd starts a political party and that succeeds. Part of the criticism here, and I think that's the legitimate aspect of what's gone wrong in the MKP, is Floyd Asimutu Abatu. He's not a people's person, and he had been given a role that requires you to have patience to deal with people, to have the capacity to engage people. As a secretary, the CEO of any organization, your job are people. Structures building requires you to engage, to be patient, to not be elitist and not to be above the people. And that's criticism that has consistently been there. I think that aspect is legitimate. So if Floyd Shivambu is going to start a political party, he'd have to change his personality. In the EFF, his cover was he didn't need to be that. In the EFF, he didn't have to worry about that because you also then are dealing with a malema that people gravitate towards. So you don't have to deal with that. But thank you for that. I can't see it. How Floyd Shivambu starts a political party and it's a success.
Yeah, maybe not. And I do take your point. It probably doesn't have the personality for it. But I do think that he's definitely going to live because this is definitely a promotion. And by the way, Tshidi, I wanted to say to you, you've done exceptionally well in that interview in the United States. I take my hat off to you. You answered that gentleman. I was really, really proud. You made us very proud, and thank you very much. One thing I want to there's just one thing.
Faster, I want to give other people a chance.
At some point, I want you to talk about Ibrahim Traore.
We'll speak about Traore one of these days because I have a very different view about the constant comparison between Traore and our government. Traore didn't rise via democratic means, and he also doesn't have the economy that we have to protect. But I take that. I see the obsession that we have with Traore, and I understand it, but I don't know if I fully agree with it. But one of these days we will. Floyd Shivambu, 118307002. I also want you to weigh in on a story that I saw yesterday, or this morning, that happened in Westbury, where the police go in and are doing I think they were doing routine checks, and then they arrested a drug dealer. And what ended up happening is the community turned on the police officers. And I was like, how's that happening? How are we, who cry about crime, who cry for police presence in our communities, how do we pick the side of the suspected drug dealer over law enforcement? And part of that is that they were not well resourced. But I'm not even too bothered with, or didn't have rubber bullets, because I don't think that they knew that they were going into what met them from the community. I'm worried about the community that wants to attack the police that are there, that wants to get rid of suspected drug dealers in our communities. What are we communicating when we cry about crime at the levels that we do, and then when police do their work, because we say they don't, then you attack the police? Like, what is that, guys? Help me understand that. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. Those are the lines to reach us. That we were in Van der Bell Park. Hi. Teboho?
Hi, Tshidi, how are you?
Sharp. You want to speak about Floyd?
Yes, yes. You know, the song that you played, you can say, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Really, Floyd really shot himself on the foot. He needed not to leave EFF, whatever the case may be. And I'm telling you right now, Floyd's political career, it looks like it's doomed for me. It's doomed. It's either he's going to go back to the ANC, as they are sympathizing with him right now, or he's actually doomed.
All right. Thank you so much for that. That's the War Out in Vanderbilt Park also weighing in on Floyd Shivambu. A lot of people saying that they don't think he'll last in Parliament. Only time will tell. Some are already saying that Mzanele Manyi might not last. So only time will tell. Here are some of your voice notes.
Morning, Tshidi. The MK party is a family business. Jacob Zuma's daughter wasn't happy with Mr. Floyd Shivambu being Secretary General, and she made it clear. Why do you think Mdlalozi never joined the MK party? Because he knew they were used to divide and cripple the EFF by the Zuma MK party, and him and Dalim Pofo felt head, line and sinker. Now he's a backbencher. It's actually karma. What he did to, and I'm not an EFF supporter and I'm not an EFF member, but what he did to Julius by stabbing Julius in the back, it is just karma. It is just karma, City. Tawhid in Randburg.
City, good morning. I trust you. Well, I think Shivambu made a strategic mistake for picking up a fight with the boss's daughter. And as for Julius Malema, I guess the guy must be having a good laugh that Shivambu has been fired from being a general secretary. So let's see how it goes. It's very interesting to watch all this theater right in front of our eyes.
Look, Tshidi, I'm not a supporter of MK, but to me, what is bigger to them is MK is bigger than the country. MK is bigger than Parliament, because this guy disrespected South Africa as a whole, and now to me they are rewarding him by putting him into Parliament, because Parliament is bigger than MK. Now the very fugitive that he visited, now he's been rewarded by being put into Parliament, because the Parliament are the lawmakers of this country. These are the people that shouldn't be visiting the fugitives. But to MK is the opposite. They are rewarding Floyd by putting him back to Parliament. It's crazy.
Thank you so much. I don't know if they view Parliament as in the way that you view Parliament, in the way that we should view Parliament. I don't think so. I mean, you've seen what happens in Parliament, and there's even an argument to be made about whether or not they've sent their best to Parliament, because I don't think that's what they do. And again, the conversation I have with Dalimpofu on politicking speaks to that too. He then even says that the remedy would be the fact that they can now finally replenish their list. They are 8 MPs down. We've seen the wrangling, and you see the criticism that the MPs are, I don't want to call them dads, but they are often referred to as dads, at least by the EFF that's trying to help them, saying that, they are silent at matters that in moments that matter in Parliament. So there's a need for them to behave like the official opposition. They've been struggling. So I don't think that they viewed Parliament all along as something like that. Maybe Floyd becomes that, but it'll be difficult when you don't have the responsibilities given to you. He's not going to be the leader of Parliament, and even if he thinks he could be, that's going to be another battlefront, because I don't think Klope, Kolima Kubele, and I think Duduzile and even Tamulondlela are Floyd's biggest supporters. So whatever happens in the caucus is in fact another battle that's awaiting Floyd Shivambu. So I don't think so. Here are more of your voice notes.
Hi, good morning, Tshidi. Patch here from Spayview. Floyd, he thought he would go for greener pastures. Unfortunately, the grass is not always greener on the other side. What I think Malema is saying now, I told you. Yeah, he shot himself in the foot. There you go now. What's next for him? It is to warm the benches in Parliament.
Dumela Tshidi and team, and let me just take this opportunity to give sincere thanks. I think you represented us better in the United States than some of those who were actually in the White House. On the Floyd Shivambu issue, I think if reports are anything to go by, this smells and looks like a setup. There's something fishy. Something does not add up. How are you suggesting that you took a trip that was authorized and yet a month or two down the line you're being removed from one of the most influential positions within the party? The question is, was this a collective leadership decision, or is this the decision of a clique or faction within the MKP? Kingsley from Germiston.
Good morning, Tshidi. You know, you all praising Floyd Shivambu. As other people, he made a big mistake by leaving the EFF. He followed the likes of Dalimpofu, who's got a career as a lawyer. And he followed him. He went to MK. Now look what is being treated. And also must remember, Zuma is a big reshuffler. He's still going to reshuffle them like nobody's business. So Floyd, we said to you when you leave the EFF, good luck to you. Let's see what you're going to do next. People are saying you are a strategist, you are this and that, while they are saying Zuma is a chess player. So we'll see. But I don't wish you good luck. You left the EFF trying to destroy it. So as you gone out of the window, go to your bank bench. After that, they're going to toss you away because people, they don't like you there. You invaded their space. Sindile,
that's harsh. You don't wish him luck. I'm going to throw him away. But you're right. They said he was a master tactician, a genius. You must show, these are the moments where you must show all of that. But I really did think that Zamani Sol's tweet about how leadership is tested, how you go through these things, and it's how you respond to these moments that qualifies you as, as a leader. So that was a very interesting take on what's happening to Floyd Shivambu. It is 9:30. Mbali's got your headlines.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
It's 9:37. You're listening to the open line on the Clement Manyathela Show. Tshidi Madia standing in for Clem today. We're discussing a variety of issues. Earlier I spoke about an incident in Westbury where the police had taken into custody a suspect, right, a suspected drug dealer, and the community turned on the police. The police weren't well resourced from my understanding. But the question I keep asking is, what sort of communities are we? When in an incident like that, that's who we turn against. We will also speak about Floyd. But for now, though, I want you to listen to some of the thoughts that have come through about that incident in Westbury.
Morning, Tshidi. I was so disgusted by that video. I saw it on Facebook, police running away. And obviously they ran away because they didn't have rubber bullets. And had they shot one of the people there, it was going to be chaos. So I think they did well for retreating. But my thing is, the current community, they always complain that they are sidelines, there's no policing, there's no service delivery, wara. When the police are there to offer them services, they are the ones who are chasing them away. Their kids are dying because of stray bullets, gangsters shooting each other. And they blame police for not monitoring them. So now the police are there to monitor and work hand in hand with them. They are the one chasing them away. They're shooting videos laughing there as if police are laughing stock. Had they shot one of those people who were busy throwing stones, it was going to be a different story today. The poor policemen were going to be investigated by the IPID. So they must just leave them. They must just leave them because they want to be left alone.
Hi, Tshidi. I hear you saying, you're against the community that were fighting the police when they were trying to arrest a suspected drug dealer. But I still think that on the police side, they know the community, they know the area, they know El Dorado, they know the community, how it is. They should have come prepared. Intelligence, the people. Some of them are already addicted, so they would be on the drug dealer side. So the police, I'm saying on their side, they were ill prepared. They should have come prepared for all of, anything that would surprise them.
Very interesting views, very valid views across the board. Thank you for those. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. I want to bring in now the conversation of Floyd Shivambu all over again. So part of what was happening yesterday, whether you believe the Bushiri argument or you didn't, whether you think he'll be effective in parliament or you won't, we all attempting to dissect what it means. But I then caught Patrick Sindani's post. Patrick Sindani used to be, I think, relatively prominent in the EFF as well. He quit the EFF following Floyd's departure as well. And what was interesting is Patrick then didn't immediately join Umkhonto weSizwe party, but he eventually did. But yesterday, in everything that was happening with Floyd, he then posted on social media that he's humbly resigning from the MKP with immediate effect, posting, I think, his payments to the party in the past. The membership cost, it's 20 rand for every 24 months. I think, 20 rand for every 24 months. I don't remember the structure for membership, but he then quits. But he then qualifies that by saying there's nothing strategic about this decision. Those who have been in politics long enough should know it's a demotion with respect. Those who saw it coming were correct. We must not be ashamed to say that the Bushiri story is not the real story. Dudu Zile has won. Say it loud. Patrick joins me now on the line. Patrick, good morning. Welcome to Radio 702. It's a clean sweep in your eyes for Dudu Zile Zuma. There have been murmurs that Dudu Zile and Floyd Shivambu have been at odds. You confirm it in essence in this tweet, saying that it's not the Bushiri story. Something else has been unfolding in the MKP.
Well, morning to you, Tshidi, and to your listeners. Look, we must call it what it is really. I'm not buying the story of Bushiri. I believe that this Bushiri story is just a by the way. It looks like somehow the leadership was waiting for something to happen so that they can take a decision that it was already in the pipeline. It's not a matter of discipline. Discipline must never choose sides. Discipline must never be selective. It must be applied consistently. If indeed the decision to remove Floyd was related to discipline issues in relation to his visit to Bushiri, then why have we not disciplined Dudu Zile Zuma for the things that he has caused in this organization called the MK, for bringing the organization into disrepute, for insulting the SG of an organization, for all those wrong things? Why have we not seen Mary Paddy disciplined properly? Not these games that are being played here and silent negotiations in the corners and then say find an amicable way of working together. Discipline must be applied consistently, and therefore I feel that there is no other reason except to say this thing of Bushiri was just a way of really now finding an opportunity to cut his head off.
When you left the EFF and you joined the MKP, what were your expectations and what did you find? Because what I often heard is that it was hostile terrain. That very often Floyd Shivambu and those who followed him from the EFF were told, go back to where you came from. That it was difficult for him to navigate the ground. It was difficult for him to engage with party members. What was the actual picture?
Well, I must openly tell you, Tshidi, and the rest of the listeners, it doesn't matter what happens. If you come from the EFF, you are correct by saying I also went to the PA. But I can still tell you, till yesterday, Akifadao resigned, we were still associated and identified as EFF members. And life is extremely difficult for you in the MK if you come from the EFF. I can tell you from my experiences that, from the grassroots, at the branch level, regions, gatekeeping, and the horrible treatment for the mere fact that you are coming from the EFF. You will be mentioned to say these ones, they are bringing their EFF mentality. They are here to hijack an organization. They want to take over the MK. And this is not the EFF, this is MK. I mean, how do you grow an organization without accepting people? Because the strength of every organization, it comes with the masses, comes with membership, also comes with experience, and especially for people who join not looking for anything but just to be members, because they know they can work the ground, they can work their way up. If there is an opportunity for them to lead, they will lead. They are not dependent on anything except to be members of an organization and serve the people. But I can tell you now, those who know the reality, who are not trying to sound politically smart, will tell you that even when we left PA and joined MK, we were still associated with the EFF, called EFF people, Floyd Shivambu's people from the EFF. They are here to take over an organization. When we joined MK, some of us, we joined MK because when Floyd joined, it somehow presented a picture that it is now serious about building an organization, bringing some sense of stability and some sense of leadership, both politically and administratively. So we saw that it looks like now it's taking the shape of an organization that we might want to be associated with, because coming from the EFF and joining the MK, it's not far apart in terms of political ideology and orientation. It makes perfect sense for you to be a member or a former member of the EFF and now be associated with the MK, because they can find we can find each other along the way and push common programs, unite our people and so on. So it made sense. So if you would remove Floyd and say it's a strategic decision, you want to now deploy him to parliament and call it there, or it's a strategic move. It is not a strategic move. Floyd was a deputy president of the EFF. He came to MK, he was made the national organizer. He was then moved to a more senior position, which is the SG. From there, he was supposed to go to deputy president or the president of organization. But you remove him directly from the political leadership. You send him to parliament. So you are compromising the organization for the sake of the parliament. It means MK, it sees parliament more important than an organization. Parliament, of course, it's a tool that an organization must use to shape and strengthen the party, but it must never be the alpha and the omega. You need a strong organization, and therefore Floyd represented that. So that is my view, and I feel strong about it.
Before I let you go, very, very quickly, Patrick, part of the issue that I've been hearing is that Floyd was eyeing the leadership, the presidency of the MKP, and that was the problem. People would say to me that between Floyd Shivambu, Dalimpofu, and Zanele Manyi, those are people who see themselves as future leaders, suggesting that Dalimpofu could be the future deputy president and that Floyd could replace Zuma. That's a coup in the making, that what they needed to halt was an attempt to take over the party. Your reaction very briefly to that?
Well, I don't see anything wrong with that, because the issues of the MK, the issues of who must be the next president in the MK must be discussed now. Unfortunately, Tshidi, between me and you and all the listeners, we know the age of Ndade Zuma, age is not on his side. So the issues of succession must be discussed now. But MK can't behave like it's a 6-month party anymore and then keep telling us about teething problems. It has taken responsibility. It's the third biggest political party in South Africa. It must present itself like that. It doesn't have an opportunity to be behaving like some small organization that doesn't know where it is going or where it's coming from. They said they want to be in charge and be in power, and therefore they must provide leadership.
All right, thank you so much, Patrick. Patrick Sindani quit his membership of the MKP. He had followed Shivambu. Shivambu left the FF. I think he did a pit stop at the PA, followed Shivambu going to the MKP. And you can hear it's about succession. That's the battle, all right? Many have been saying, hey, this party will belong to Tutuzi Zuma. Well, maybe that's what the signals, right? Patrick saying that they must discuss leadership. That Zuma is, of course, of an advanced age, and that becomes a factor. But then I'm inclined to believe that's what it is. I want to continue with your calls. Moses and Santon, hi.
Hello?
Yes, Moses, go ahead.
Yes, no, I hear what this guy is saying, the previous speaker here. What is problematic here is that people are jostling for position. It's the same where you are working, okay? People will say that these are EFF people because everybody wants a position there. So if you are a weakling and you're not a leader and you're not strong enough, you will chicken out. Now, I see Floyd's move to parliament as a very beautiful one for him, actually. Floyd is a leader, okay? You will see what will happen in parliament. He will lead there. He will not be a backbencher.
It'll be so interesting, Moses.
Leaders are born, yeah.
That's true.
Born, and he will be, yeah?
I'm saying it'll be interesting to see.
You will see.
Okay, thank you. That's Moses out in Santon saying that he thinks Floyd Shivambu will get to parliament and make a showing of it. And you realize that he's worth something. Because also, there's an opportunity for him to showcase whether he is the master tactician. But he must get through Shope, Colleen Makubele, as well as Tutu Zealand, Tlamulo, many other names there. Michael in Johannesburg, hi.
Good morning, Tshidi and 702 listeners. Here's the point that I want to make. Jay-Z did not open NKP to lead the country. He opened this party to destabilize the electoral system. We are dealing with a guy who has been a leader of intelligence of Umkhonto weSizwe. The gentleman is bitter about what happened to him. You know the saying of keep your friends closer and your enemies even closer. Floyd has been a victim of that. He was on the opposition chanting, Jacob Zuma must pay back the money. Jacob Zuma hasn't forgotten all those things. All the people that actually were his considered to be enemies, he's bringing them closer so when he gets a chance, chops all of them their head. Floyd did not do his homework. He shot himself in the foot. Thank you, Tshidi.
Thank you. That's Michael out in Johannesburg. Tebogo in Pretoria, you want to weigh in on the situation in Westbury that unfolded yesterday afternoon?
Hello, Tshidi, and good morning to your listeners as well. Listen, there's a lady who just called and said that the police were supposed to know better and arm themselves.
Intelligence, yeah.
I don't think it could have worked, and I don't think it's a good thing because, today's police post the apartheid from the history of South Africa the way it was. The police were considered, as people's enemies because their approach to the community, the black communities in particular, were that militant approach with the hippos and everything. And, so now when these police, the current ones that went to Westbury, they were supposed to first approach the community with a friendly approach, because what we are preaching right now is that the police are supposed to be friendly to the communities so that they can work hand in hand with the communities and have the communities trust them and inform them of the crimes that are happening. So that's why they had that friendly face approach to Westbury. They were not supposed to come with hippos and guns and everything. In that manner, you distance the communities from the trust that you're supposed to have with them, So yeah, that's my take. That's what I wanted to just put forward.
Very important point. Thank you so much, Tebogo out in Pretoria. Like, nuance has to also be taken into consideration when you approach situations like that. 0727021702 for your voice notes and WhatsApps on the various topics that we've been discussing, or to raise your own, really.
Regarding this issue in Westbury, it's not the first time something like this is happening. There was an e-hailing driver who was robbed at gunpoint, but these guys didn't know he had a illegal firearm. He had to shoot because they were carrying an illegal firearm. That community did the same thing with the Uber drivers. So they like defending criminals. It's not their first time. We know that area is a lot of crime. Thank you.
I said this is Tutumane. As with Floyd Shivambu's demotion, I don't think, maybe, as I look at it, maybe he's being prepared to take over at the JSE in the place of Dr. John Klope. That's what I'm thinking, Yeah, he's probably been prepared to go there. Thank you very much. I think Floyd Shivambu's acting as the COO of the MKP is karma coming home to roost. I think there are a lot of old grannies and grandpas who were members of his VBS heist who are unsympathetic like many of us. And you can call it whatever you want. The man ran away from accountability, and now this is karma coming home to roost.
Thank you so much for the voice notes. I think there's an interesting one that speaks about the JSE. Maybe that's an interesting one to raise, that maybe you'll sit on the JSE and maybe then you'll see something. There are a lot of maybes. That's why you're saying maybe around what happened with Floyd Shivambu. I still say, though, that caucus will be hostile. I don't know if you listen properly to what Patrick Sindani said. Like, no matter where you go, you're consistently told, go back where you came from. You come from the EFF. They don't want you here. They believe imposing your culture on the organization. And that's also been part of the resistance towards Floyd in terms of even the Constitution. There was lots of resistance to every measure. I know that at the time he tried to take them for like a workshop, a training event, and he couldn't get anything done. Why? He was being told, go back where you came from. So I think a hostile caucus also awaits. Let's take a quick break.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
It's 9:56. But before we go to the news, we are taking your reactions and your views on news coming out of the MKP around Floyd Shivambu being redeployed. There's also a lot of talk about who replaces him, right, as the next Secretary General of the MKP. I think they're sixth. They've had a lot in their 18 months around. They haven't been around for long, but they've had a lot. I hear the name of Phumlani Mfeka, one of the founding members, a traditional leader who also served, I think, in the provincial legislature at some point, who had left, I think, in protest to those joining the MKP. So he's being touted as a potential leader. Do you remember Bongani Baloyi? Bongani Baloyi was the Midvaal mayor of the DA, Nogal. His name is also being thrown around here and there as a potential replacement. He's been working and organizing in the MKP. I don't think he and Floyd Shivambu got along either. So there's also that what happens next is part and parcel of the conversation around the developments in the MKP. Here are more of your voice notes.
Good morning, Tshidi. Hamilton here in Springs. I think Floyd's political career is going to the end now. From being a general secretary, they use him to write all the policies that he didn't understand, that he broke it when he went to Malawi to visit Bushiri. And they use him to make sure that they build branches for MK. And now they send him to the benches right there in Parliament. You must ask Mzwanele Manyi what happened to him. Julius Malema's ancestors are working. Hamilton here in Springs.
Good day, Tshidi. Good day, Seven Cylinders. Abraham in Florida. Tshidi, I think there's always been a mission against the people that came from the EFF, right? So they are fighting against them because they know that the plan looks like it was to take over MKP. So they're going to surpass people that they found there. So there's always been a pushback. So it's been Zandile Manyu who's been stripped off his role. Also, Busiswe Mkhebane, the former public protector that has been not recognized as a convener. And also you've got SG Floyd, who's no longer SG. He's now somewhere there at the back of the benches. And then now you're dealing with advocate Talimpofu. So he's also going to have his fair share. Something is brewing and they better recognize it and do something about it. But yeah, as for Floyd, I feel like his political career is over.
Thank you so much. I definitely think the battle is succession. It's about who gets to take over, especially when you look at this Phumlani Mfeka's name, is that here's a founding member, right? It rejects everything that a Floyd Shivambu represents with his newness. But me, I worry about Floyd going into Parliament. I feel sorry for him because the EFF is going to let him have it. You know it. It's